interviews, education, music, fun, excitement. Creole Heartbeat, showcasing the life, challenges, dreams, aspirations, and triumphs of artists, musicians, entertainers, music professionals. A microscopic view into the Creole music, Creole wear, Creole cuisine, and Creole way of life. A front row seat into the highlighting of the artistic, creative, and the theatrical energies and talents of Dominica and Creole partners, exploring avenues within the creative and cultural industry sector. Creole Heartbeats, this and every Saturday on the Genuine Sound of Dominica, Coyote FM, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Pamachesa.
Yes, I. Sakai Malad, Prince Wadix, Prince Wadix, Prince Wadix, Prince Wadix. Papou a wete ba moun flen la yon manja kite la vie. Apprecier sa yo ka fe kon yo a pa mi nou jodi. La se mouve vale pie non nou ka konsife moun ebi. Faut nous connaître pour meilleur, c'est pour nous tout ça bénéfice. For only wonders you done for us all, spreading the culture all over the world. For all the good things that you done for God, that's what it is. We thanking you. We thanking you, brother.
Afternoon, this is the Creole Heartbeat on the Genuine Sound of Dominica. It's a pleasure to be in your company once again. As man, we had a wonderful exhibition of good presentations last evening at the UB Open Campus, and that was panel discussion volume 3. We head to the Alliance Française de la Dominique this coming Friday, and we have a packed program for you. What did it mean for Cadence Lipso artists to be signed by major companies and distributed internationally by Mark Murray? The introduction of copyrights and music publishing into Dominica music space. Michael Henderson. Why did Cadence Lipso give Dominica the legitimacy to organize the WCMF Subus Esprit? The impact of Cadence Lipso in the Indian Ocean, the Mauritius, Seychelles, and La Réunion. And that will be discovered by Gilles Lyonnais. And also, after 10 years of Cadence Lipso music came Zouk. Did Bouillon take advantage of the existing platform? Cornel Phillip, Ra Peters, and also Carlton Winston. We are in with some legends of Cadence Lipso music. We are in with the brothers of Black Roots in the building. Yeah. As we say, good afternoon to Cameron and Pato. Ça va fait well? Tout bagaille bien. We should be hooking up also with Masho from Milestones. Any moment now, Roy, whenever you can get a chance, let's hook up with Masho. Man, it's a pleasure again seeing you guys. Pato. I heard that you guys were really dynamic back then in those days. Tell us about the beginning of Black Roots.
Oh, you heard, right?
I heard because I never got a chance to dance on the band.
Oh, okay. Well, you miss out.
I know. Tell us about the beginning.
Yeah, well, the beginning of the band, really, it's like in the early 70s when I left Roseau after.
So you resided in Roseau?
Yeah,
okay.
River Street, and I think the bug really got me when I used to. My favorite pastime was like make sure when nightfall I get to that band house. There was a few of them in town at that time. There was a few of them in the town at that time, though. Like you had Voltage 4, you had Every Mother's Child, you had Wooden Stools, and I would make it a point of duty every night. Something in me just like you have to go there, and I used to spend the whole practice session just watching and listening, and then later on, a few years later, I went back to Soufriere with my family, and then from there on, I started I started like, oh, I want to be like this guy I see practicing in town. I want to be, unknowing that I was a musician. I didn't know I was a musician. And then, there was this guy from from Grand Bay. He had
Yeah, Grand Bay.
yes, Grand Bay. Remember that guy, right? And this guy was the first guy who who was like running the midnight groovers. He was promoting groovers and then for some reason there was another guy who stepped in and decided take over management. Gave
Of Midnight
groovers, yeah, brand new equipment and everything, and so groovers left this guy I'm talking about and went over to the other guys. And then the guy knew me because what happened is at my very early age I used to listen to the radio and I would sing. I would almost sing every line of every
Song.
every hit song, every latest song, and the bands like Gaylord just come out to Soufriere, and I used to convince them, listen, I can sing during intermission time. Yeah, and they would let me, and I would catch the Soufriere crowd by surprise.
Serious?
Oh, yes, as a little kid.
How old were you then? 10, 11, 12?
I was about 12, 13. Then what really happened is after this the Rovers left this guy, the guy knew me. He knew I used to sing during intermission time with them. So he tell me, listen man, I got this equipment up in Grand Bay. What are you guys doing? I want to bring it down to Soufriere. I said, come on, bring it down. And that was the beginning of the start of Black Roots. Cameron wasn't there yet. We had its original bassman, then he left.
Who were the guys then?
There was a guy named Andre Charles.
Of course, Andre used to work at
Charles
DBS
was
Radio,
on
my
the
big
bass.
brother.
He was on the bass, and he had another guy called
Hugh.
Kent, and then Hugh, and so when he left, when the bassman left, we had a gig. I remember that gig. We had a gig in Arawak. We needed a bassman. I contacted Cameron. I remember that well. You remember that well?
You knew Cameron. Could Cameron play then?
None of us could play.
You serious?
No.
None of you
None
could
of
play?
us could play. None of us could play.
My
He's
word.
no lie. He's
No.
telling you the truth.
Yeah,
man.
none of us could play. We just think we could play, but we couldn't play. But we just we had urge. So Cameron get on the guitar.
We had an idea.
We had an idea. Yeah. Cameron get on the bass, and soon after that, he left for England, and that was the end of the band. I fought because before Cameron left, Cameron was on the recording in Martinique. Our first record, Laissez Homme la Tombe. Cameron played bass on that. So Cameron left, band dissolved.
Okay, just hold on while Cameron come in. Okay, yes, we also have Masho on the line. Let us see if we can just say good afternoon to Masho in St. Martin. Good afternoon, Masho.
Hey, Prince Wallace, I'm here. Good afternoon to you and to your listeners.
We are also in with Pato and Cameron of Black Roots.
Okay, good afternoon, Cameron and Pado.
Hey, my show. What's up?
So,
Okay, but let me tell you something, folks.
Yeah.
I was the youngest at the time, so a lot of things I don't remember too well, you know.
no problem. As far as you can remember, just give us actually how the milestones actually began playing.
Well, we left the Dominica as the modules,
Mm-hmm.
and then that name changed in Guadeloupe about maybe a year or two after.
Uh-huh. So who comprised the modules? Who were the members in the modules?
Okay, we have the dozen six of the milestone, which was Philip Thomas, Ozzy Hector, Alvin Lawrence, and brother.
Mm-hmm.
We also had Eric Stowe, the drummer.
Deceased. I think he has gone to the wild beyond.
Yes, he's done also. And there was Fabian Victor. There was Jackie from Portsmouth, the brother. There was also my other brother, Lincoln Lawrence.
How many of you brothers were in the band?
Three of us.
Three. Okay. Mm-hmm.
So it was about, in total, about 10 or so, 9, 10.
Mm-hmm. So you left Dominica for Guadeloupe as the modules?
Yes, as module.
And what happened after that? When you reached Guadeloupe, what happened?
well, we got up and the module began doing things. We got in contact with some folks. To get some contracts, right? And we played different places.
Mm-hmm.
And so some places that depending on the manager, he provided a home, and sometimes we would get breakfast or lunch.
Okay.
But other folks now we will have to rent, and they could provide some lunch as well or something, and dinner.
Mm.
And then we also had to provide everything for ourselves, to rent and food and everything.
Mm. So you lived in which part of Guadeloupe? In the same house? You guys were staying in the same house?
Yes.
Which part of Guadeloupe?
Yeah. We lived a few different places. We live in Setan. We lived in Gauzier. We lived in Basse. And so on. And
how old were you guys then? I mean, Mashu, when you decided to move and leave Portsmouth?
well, I was in the early 20s. I was still early 20s,
Early 20s, okay.
Growing up.
Mm-hmm.
But the other guys were older than I.
Oh, you were the youngest of the band.
Yes, the youngest.
Mm-hmm. Well, what was the main reason you had to leave? Were there Exile One and Graham Axel ready?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not as yet.
So when you decided to leave, Cadaslypso was not yet a genre, was not yet a rhythm.
No, bro.
Mm.
We were the first band. We were the first group to go to Guadeloupe as a group.
Mm-hmm. What year was that?
68, 69, around there.
1968, 1969. Wow.
69. But I was still at school.
Uh-huh.
So I had to come back up. I went for a short time, come back up, and I went back after.
Okay. And at what point all you turned to Milestones?
Well, while we were down there, some of I'll tell you there was a connection with Gordon Henderson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Gordon also from Portsmouth.
Yes, right. So that was pretty good to meet him there.
To connect with him.
To connect with him, right?
Mm.
And then he had a plan for us to begin to record for the first, to make the first album.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in English and whatever, And
so you all were still under the modules, or you were turned to Milestones by then?
We were the modules still.
Uh-huh.
But he thought of changing the name. He thought of another name, to kind of attract more attention,
So Gordon told you that you should change the name so that at least for the French people you could have gotten a better response.
Yes, that's sort of,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And anyhow, he thought of the Lawrence brothers.
The Lawrence brothers.
Yes, but it didn't make too much sense, really,
Because there were other members in the band.
Right, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
So then, but yet we were practicing for the album, and then then came a businessman from somewhere else, the Saints, and he came and he changed everything over. He wanted to the band for himself, and so. But now I'm giving you the details because I wasn't the one
making the negotiations.
Right, and doing that.
Okay.
So somehow all I knew that the band went somewhere else, and Gordon stayed back and he got some musicians from Antigua, and etc. And after the same year, he brought down Exile One.
He made Exile One with Julie Morillo and the other brothers.
Afterward, yes, and so on.
Okay, yes. We will get back to the rest of the story in a while, Masho, but then let's get across to Cameron. By the way, in case you're wondering, Masho just have a little stammer in his speech, so just bear with us because that's normal. That's no big thing. Just have a little stammer in his speech. But you would imagine this brother is so blessed that when he pick up that mic to sing, you wouldn't know that he you know what I mean. That is the work of the Father.
Absolutely.
I mean, a fantastic. You will hear the song. I mean, from if you listen to Milestone, C'est l'amour, c'est la paix. I mean, whenever the brother held that mic to sing, he was just untouchable. Cameron, you were part of the. Tell us about your start in the band and how you ended up a bass man.
Well, that's a funny story. Actually, so the band was, in fact, your story about how you started, I wasn't aware of that story.
You wasn't aware of that?
No.
You're hearing that for the first time.
No, I'm hearing it for the first time. I just remember someone showed up in Soufriere with instruments.
And that and that was part
And
of
that
it.
was part of it. I had no idea you were behind that. I thought some guy just showed up from Granby with a truck of equipment. So I remember the excitement,
Yeah.
when it showed up and everyone was like,
A truck of equipment showed
Yeah,
up in
just
Soufriere,
showed up in
everybody.
Soufriere, you
It's
know.
a work at Atlanta.
The funny thing is, the guy told me, "Listen, I'm taking the equipment, the instruments down to Soufriere." I'm like, he said, "Yo, just get a few guys you think
That can play. What am I? Right, Magalazzo. We are live on Kyrie the Genuine Sound. We just want to remind you that this coming Sunday, Dance by the Pool, Atlantic View Hotel. You can check it out from, let's say, midday until 6 o'clock. Come and relax, get some good music. I should be around 12 o'clock. Some good dance sleep. So by the pool, have a dip in the pool at the Atlantic View Hotel in Ansdy Maze. A guy showed up with some truck, Papa Noel, man.
But the funny thing was, the guys who we fought who were musicians, Atanas and a guy called Ferdinand.
Ferdinand, yes.
We thought these guys could actually play.
Yeah.
But then we soon realized
They couldn't play. Wow.
they couldn't play,
So what happened after that, Cameron?
Well, for me, okay, so the band started. So that was Andre, Pato, Hugh, Kent,
Kent, yeah,
And
and Soda,
Joe
Soda.
Soda,
Just the deceased, right?
Yes.
So, and the band was going great. So what we did, there was a second string. So there was myself, Bevin Lewis, Freddie Gachette, Julius. So we call ourselves the Rebels. So what would happen when...
So Black Roots had two sides.
Yes, so when Black Roots played locally, when they played in the church hall or down Columbus Park, during the intermission time,
The Rebels would play.
The Rebels would
And
play.
you play in both bands?
I played guitar. No, I wasn't with the band yet. I played guitar.
For the Rebels?
Yes, trying to play guitar. And not long after Andre left, Andre became a Christian. He no longer wanted to play secular music. He don't want to go to hell, so he said. So I got
is he a Rasta now? What is he now?
I
Okay, let's leave that
I
there.
don't want to tell you.
Let's leave that there.
But I remember that gig at Iraq.
Okay,
Yes, and we were backing somebody.
No, you were back in somebody,
Rex, a guy from
Rex Harrison.
Trinidad.
Yes, that's this magician guy.
Yes.
Oh, yes, I remember there was some
I
some
remember-
magician.
If I'm not mistaken, I think that day you had a bad toe or something.
I had a bad foot, yeah. Something happened to my foot, so it was
Oh,
bad.
man.
So
Yeah.
he had it on a stool.
On a stool,
On a
I
stool
sat down.
playing.
He was playing.
Man.
So-
but at that time, apart from Soufriere, you played anywhere else in
Not
Dominica?
really, though.
At the time, no.
Not really. Maybe Sue Scott's head and Soufriere,
I think I probably done one gig outside of Soufriere, but not that much. But the other interesting thing was that the bass guitar we had, remember the instruments belonged to this guy, so no one owned any instrument.
Who was the name of that guy?
The guy, I don't even remember this guy's name. But he was like
So a guy just leave Rosa with a truck of instruments and just comes to pray.
from Granby.
Oh, you're from Granby.
Granby, yeah.
Wow.
You know, the guy's father, he was from England, and he brought down his equipment.
Okay.
Now the guy, he did background vocals.
Yes.
With Chubby. And then when Chubby left and went to this other guy, no,
He had the equipment.
He had the equipment, so he
he
decided-
comes to Frere looking for fellas that can play.
because he knew I was singing at intermission time and every
Yes,
jam
yes,
they used to
okay.
have
In
you know.
Granby, right.
So he brought it down, and then
Tell you just get fellas to play.
yes, and then right away, this guy Kent,
Yeah.
he used to go to Martinique, so he came back one day. Listen, guys, I got a contract for you guys, a recording contract, and I'm like, recording contract. I'm like, okay. So I went on the double. I started writing at the early age of 14. Like,
How old were you then, Cameron?
When we did the album, I was about 15, 16.
Wow. So you were going to school then?
well, no, at that time,
It's
14,
music you want to play.
Guy used to ask me, but Pato, you sleep with this guitar? I used to have like a guitar, 24/7,
Yes,
hanging around. And what really happened is I started writing. I was doing a little job on the Soufriere estate, and whenever I get a chance, I would sneak, pick up the guitar, write a few lines, and go back on the job like that. You know, in the space of a few weeks.
And when at what time you would practice now?
Well, we used to practice in the evening. In the evening.
Every evening.
Every evening, yeah. And in the space of a few weeks, I had enough songs for the album. You know, so we went to Martinique.
By plane, boats?
No, by plane. No,
Okay.
listen to that. We went from Dominica to the airport. We got picked up from the airport straight to the studio.
Wow.
Right away, start working right away. The guy's like, come on, you know, it's money, it's, you know, this business, you know, you guys got it. So we started right away recording from the airport to the studio recording. And it was sometime about like 7 at night. We're like,
Tired.
we haven't eaten nothing.
Hungry.
We're hungry. So I remember they brought this huge Coke and that they used to call it Banton.
Banton, the long mastiff.
And that cheese.
Swiss cheese.
That cheese. That's the first time I ever see Swiss cheese in my life. And I was reluctant. I'm like, whoa, this thing looked like
The
it
color.
was eaten by rats.
Yeah, because it has a funny, yeah.
Yeah, so imagine, so the 5 of us kids, you know, one huge Coke, a Banton, and cheese.
And that was lunch for you guys.
That was it. You know, and as soon as we finished, right away, come on.
Let's play.
We did that album in a few hours.
Wow.
One album in a day. We did that. You know, and then
You overnighted and then...
we overnight, and next 4 o'clock in the morning,
Wow.
the taxi was honking back to the airport. So we didn't even see this. We didn't see the town.
You didn't see
Nothing.
Martinique at
No,
all. Wow.
no.
So it was just pure business.
Yes. Yeah. So we got. Oh man, I was.
You get to listen to the record after before you
Yes,
leave?
you have to make us listen now. I couldn't believe it was us playing. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And then
So what was the arrangement then, Patu? What was the deal?
I'm coming to tell you.
Hold on a while. Hold on with the deal. Hold on with the deal. Let's get across to Mash. Right. Mash, are you there?
What do you think about it now?
Yes,
To laugh.
French.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes, you're listening to the brothers from Black Roots and the struggle they went through.
Yes, I've heard some of it.
Okay. In terms of the first recording, tell us about the first recording and who played major parts.
Well, after that was the first place we went,
Mm-hmm.
and we did. My brother and I composed the song.
The both of you composed most of the songs, or
Yes,
all of
yes.
the songs.
Well, particularly all except 1 or 2. I think just about 1 or 2.
So that album was the album with which one? Which one of the hit songs? C'est l'amour.
C'est l'amour, yes.
Okay, C'est l'amour. What other songs that were hit songs? Carolyn Show and the songs there.
Well, those songs in Guadeloupe, yes, they love this type. They know Caroline Show, Malpalan, they love that kind too a lot. And but we had Dominic, I think, that played on DBS a lot too as well.
So Messi Bodje
That
would be
song,
on the Messi Bodje would be on the second album.
Right, on the second album.
So after you made
Yeah.
that first album, Mashu, what was the response like for Milestones in Guadeloupe?
Well, you see, the album got a push because of the cadence calypso.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that new thing in the air, the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Guadeloupe is an advanced place, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They were quite advanced, but even to this day. So the English was still good, so some they love that. But you know, the Creole, the roots in Guadeloupe is the Creole.
Absolutely.
You know, the main thing, you know, there's French, yes. But so after that, the sounds came on, especially after we heard Exile One.
So Exile One was the band that actually influenced Milestones to play the style they played.
Well, you can't sleep so part of it.
You kind of slips
Because the
apart.
right, because the other music that's something we're playing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean. The reggae, the soul, etc., calypso, etc.
So after that first album, Mashu, you played any dances after the first album?
Oh yeah. That was the main thing down in Guadeloupe, really. After that, nightclub, restaurants, wherever, even on beaches and every part of Guadeloupe. Yeah, we played those dances and so on.
What was the experience like that after the first album?
Well, it was really, I mean, it was some good times too, great times too, but at times they were pretty long too, some long nights time, evening time, very late, and you play for hours and hours. But the experiences in general, I mean, they were good, but there was something about the benefits from doing that kind of work out there.
You did not benefit. You did not benefit satisfactorily. You did not like the benefits.
Yeah, not totally.
Not totally.
Especially the rights of our songs, etc. Yeah, that was really kind of abuse. That was really something else. Even to this day, our music is still selling out there.
It's still selling.
Yeah, out there. Yeah.
Let me ask you, Masho. Pierre Labo played on that first album.
Yes.
How will you encountered Pierre Labo?
Yeah, we met him. I think no, I might not the full details because maybe he was in the studio or something like that. I'm not the full details.
So in the studio you met Pierre Labo, man?
Huh?
Well, you met Pierre Labo in the studio?
Most likely, but that's what I can remember.
Okay.
In total, right? I can remember everything like that.
Okay, no problem.
But then we also had guys blowing as well.
From where? From Dominica?
TNT. No, from TNT.
Oh, from Trinidad. So you had some Trinidadian hornmen alongside Pierre Labo.
Yeah. One with trombone and the other one trumpet.
But then all of you guys were from Portsmouth, right?
Well, the rest of us, yes. The rest of us.
From Portsmouth. And then after that first album, Milestones became a big name in Guadeloupe.
Guadeloupe, yes. It was really coming on nicely, yeah.
You played with any other Dominican bands in Guadeloupe? Any other, let's say the Exile and the Gramax? You played with any of those bands? Below Man and so on?
Well, unfortunately, we didn't have those. Only once we played before Exile 1 came on the show. I think just once. Before Exile 1. So we opened up for them.
Oh, you opened and then after they played?
Yes. But that wasn't something that we did a lot down there. And probably that was a mistake too or something. I don't know how because we were so busy. But I believe we would have done that, really.
Okay, no problem. So we'll talk about the second album when we come back, Masho. Just hold on the line there. So you guys, eventually, you left Guadeloupe the next morning, 4 o'clock, taxi, horning, Martinique. But you heard the album before you left.
Yes, and we were quite pleased. I mean, we were like excited. I mean, it was first time.
Okay.
And there's a saying like, oh, why all these Dominican bands let yourself, exploit it like that. It's not our fault.
You were the lead of the band, Pedro?
I was the lead of the band, yeah.
So what arrangement all you had with the studio?
Well, exactly. After we're done, we were given 300 US and 50 albums.
The next day? It was the same day.
Same
day. 300 US?
300 US and 50 albums. Yeah.
Right.
Yes, and then, but thanks to this album, after Cameron left, the band disbanded. The guy took back his equipment back to Grand Bay. There's no band.
Okay. Before that, I heard that Royston Ellis used to be.
We're coming.
Okay, so all right. So Cameron, you left the. What reason you left the band?
I didn't leave the band. I was extracted from the band.
You was extracted from the band.
My mother said to me, she decided Actually, I wrote to her asking for a bass, and she sent me a ticket.
You asked her for a bass guitar, she sent you a ticket to England.
Yeah, ticket. But before I left, actually, I should tell you this story. When I started playing the Black Roots, when we had to do that gig at the RX, the bass guitar they had only 3 strings.
Jesus Christ!
Right? It had only 3 strings.
So how you negotiated?
Right? And I mean, a bass guitar got 4 strings.
Yeah.
And so I had to learn all these songs, And because I played a little guitar, it wasn't too difficult to make the transition. But I was by no means a bass player. Free strings, and we did the gig, and we did a couple local gigs. But when we went to Martinique to record, I remember we got into the studio, and there's all this stuff that we dreamed about playing, the stuff we dreamt about every day. There it was, Fender guitars and Hammond organ, and wow. And then I had this Fender jazz bass in my hand with 4 strings. I'm like, 4 strings? What am I gonna do?
And you practice on 3 strings, so you have an extra string.
I'm like, man, what am I gonna do with this extra string, man? So I played the whole album, man. I never played that extra string, So I didn't know what to do with it.
With the extra strings, so you played the album with 3 strings.
Yeah, with just 3 strings, and oh man, it's funny. But I mean, we got, we had no idea of the industry. I mean, we were kids, really. We knew absolute. We just really. We were just happy.
What was the name of the studio you recorded? Nairado?
Nairado, yeah.
No, it was Nairado.
Jacob
Was it Nairado?
Yeah,
Nairado.
No, it was 3A.
Well,
Is that him?
No, it's Jacob Nairado. It's Jacob. It's free. It is free.
So
It's
Pablo.
3A. Okay.
Because Jacob and Debs, they were incorporated.
Right.
So listen, I mean, you finished the album, you finished the record. About what time in the night? Let's say midnight.
Yeah, sometime late in the night we finish. Yeah.
And then he called you and give you your little envelope.
A little envelope with 300 US and 50 albums, and that was it. Just to find out years later when we get with Royston. Royston went on tour in the somewhere in
West
Africa.
Africa?
Yeah, in the West Coast somewhere. And then he brought back the album. He said, "You guys know about this album? The album is being sold in Africa, in the Indian,
In Reunion, that's the Indian Ocean.
Yeah, Indian Ocean, yeah." And they said no. And even if we knew, we came to nothing because we were paid off.
Yeah,
We had no,
No rights to the
own the
record anymore.
royalties. Yeah. So that was it. So, but then, give you the whole story now. After Cameron left, the band
Disbanded,
yeah. And it happened now. Royston has this album, and he's looking for the band. He's looking for the band, and the band is not functioning. Anymore. Just to happen, Gramax had a festival in St. Joseph, and one of the guys they knew from the proceeding of this album, we bought a guitar from Wheaties. Another
With the
keyboard.
325 US.
Yes, we bought a keyboard. We bought a keyboard with the proceedings. So
And you sold these 300 records.
yeah, well, yeah.
And give some to your girls and so.
Oh well, yeah.
That's normal. That's normal, man.
okay.
Roy, man.
Yeah. So
By the time you reached Sofria, you guys were like heroes in the place.
yeah. So what happened is, the guy knew we had this keyboard, and they needed the keyboard for that festival. So this guy from St. Joseph, came up to Sofria and tell me they want to rent this keyboard for. So the guy goes, "But Pato, man, what you doing? Yo, get a gig on this get a gig." I'm like, "Yo, the band doesn't function anymore." He said, "Man, Pato, put a few guys together."
Jesus Christ.
And again, I went again, picking a few guys I think that would,
Hold the side,
then I
yeah.
get Julius, I get Julius. 1 week, a crash course. 1 week, we practiced 3 songs from the album. At that time, the bass guitar is just boom, 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 boom. It's just no fancy thing. So he was able to hold his end, the bassman. So and that was good enough for me. And then we went down to the festival. We performed. Yeah, you could hear a pin drop. We got a round of applause. We
You're
played.
frightened, man, Bobby. So like you're frightened, man.
Yeah, we just like, that's new. Because the thing is, people was amazed, our age, and we play so tight and so confident. And when you're walking off the stage, and we saw this guy, this white guy, coming towards us, and he introduced himself. I said, "I'm looking for this band a long time." I said, "This band don't exist." He said, "Well, you guys playing?" I said, "Well, we just get together for this festival." He goes, "I have you guys' album, and I'm looking for this guy, for this band. I'm interested in this band." He goes, "Who's the band manager?" I say, "We don't have a manager." He say, "Who's the band leader?" I'm like, "Well, I'll consider me to be." He said, "Okay, can you guys meet me next week for a meeting in Miro?" We went on to this meeting, And then the following week, we were in Barbados picking up brand new equipment.
What? Are you serious?
We signed, yeah. He wrote out a contract. We read the contract. We reviewed the contract, and then we signed it. Even it was, we signed it, and then the next thing you know, a sensation. People never know, because the thing is with this guy Royston Ellis, he knew everything about
The business.
the business.
The business aspect.
Yeah, the guy toured with Rolling Stones, with Beatles, with Led Zeppelin, so he knows business. And he had this money there because he's a writer. And he had this money, these writers, they have this money that they could, like,
In a special fund there.
Yes, special fund, so that was available to him. He thought of cricket. Now, he thought of Gramax too. But then he decided Gramax was way too advanced. He wanted something to start fresh. He wanted to
And build it up.
And then that was it. In less than 3 to 6 months, we dominated the whole dance business in Dominica.
Okay, hold on a while. We'll come back to that. We just want to remind you that tomorrow, Cadas, by the pool at the Atlantic View Hotel in Anzime, you could come hang out, relax, listen to some good Cadas Lips of music. I should be in the building from around midday. And Webb will also be passing through. Relax, chill out, bring the family, slip into something comfortable. Have a good time at the Atlantic View Hotel, Cadas, by the pool, tomorrow at the Atlantic View Hotel. Let's see if we can touch base with Marshall. Are you there, my brother?
Yeah, but I'm there.
Okay, greetings again. Tell us about the second album. What happened between the first and the second album?
Yeah, the second album was not at Debs. It was at a studio
In Guadeloupe.
in Guadeloupe. Yes.
Okay.
At
Sefaswan.
no, the guy name. It was at
Oh, Selini.
Eleni.
Selini.
Right. That's a recording.
Selini.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and you and your brother wrote most all the songs.
Yes, except the one with Powell, say to him Powell, yeah, that one.
But how long? I mean, you guys stayed in Guadeloupe from the modules until the second album.
Yeah, well, it was a milestone for the first album. It was milestone.
And then the second album would be Milestones also.
Milestone until, yes, milestone until.
And then after the second album, you continue to play dances in Guadeloupe.
Right, and the same thing, shows and so on, etc. So we spent all our time down there in Guadeloupe. We went to the Saints, and went to Telebo, and back.
You ever played in Martinique?
No, we never went elsewhere.
It's just more Guadeloupe and the Saint Lisette.
Yes, so we just Guadeloupe area already.
And what happened? You decided to go back home, or the band broke up in Guadeloupe?
Well, the modules. Oh, you mean milestone?
The Milestones. I'm referring to Milestones now.
Oh yes. Well, after that, the milestone. Yes, some of us. Yes, some came back to Dominica. Or some went back to Dominica. Yeah, and then there was after that. In fact, we know we all came down to Dominica. And then the milestone began after the breakup. They had the gospel milestone now afterwards.
So after you broke up, you had the gospel milestones.
After that, yes.
So
yes.
which means some of you guys became Christians.
Yes. Believers in the Lord, yes, of course.
Okay.
In Christ.
Just hold that thought a little. At what point Otis was ever with the band? Otis Hyacinth.
Otis Hyacinth, Portsmouth. I don't think he wasn't in Guadeloupe, but I think he was.
No, but was he ever in the band Milestones?
No, I think he was probably modules or something.
Modules.
I think he was on that area, but I still can remember. I don't think he was in Guadeloupe with us. In Portsmouth, really.
In Portsmouth, really. So when you guys came back to Portsmouth, what was the response like? 2 albums, the songs hitting on the radio station. What was the response like in Portsmouth?
Well, we didn't have any big shows really, I think some just a few of some of the musicians stayed. In fact, I believe yes, my brother and the drummer they stayed back while I and some others were in Dominica.
Okay.
You know.
Uh-huh.
And then the gospel started coming, and then they after a while they came over.
Mm-hmm. So what happened to the gospel milestones?
Well, the milestone was different because we had a different bass player. Then we had a different drummer. Myself on drum. In fact, I played drum and I sang. I was a drummer and the lead singer at the same time. And then we had a bass player and my brother on keyboard. And that was the milestone. We were practically 3-4. And the milestone did out in Mark. You know, we went to Barbados and we went to Antigua, St. Kitts, you know, everywhere, Tortola, and so on. Even back to Guadeloupe.
Master, I believe that you're actually a blessed singer. I mean, you know, to transit from, you know, a slight impeachment in your speech, and then whenever you put on that mic to sing, you would sing flawlessly. The confidence, you would have the confidence, and you know, I think this is truly a blessing from the Father.
Thanks so much. Yeah, give him all the praise. Give him all the praises. Yes.
So you're still a Christian.
Yeah, I'm a believer. Yes.
You're a believer.
I believe in the Lord, and I believe in the Christ. Christ meaning the anointing, the power that enables, you know, to do the work.
Excellent. If there were to be, let's say, a return of the milestones, or let us suppose we organize an all-star Kadaslipso group, would you come and sing a C'est l'amour, c'est la paix, which is positive lyrics, and Merci Bon Dieu for us?
Yeah, I would do that, you know, I would do that, but I don't know about the vaccine yet.
No, man, we're talking about next year, man. We don't worry about the vaccine now. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that just now, Marsha. We'll talk about the vaccine and the rest of the thing, because we need you to come back and on the stage, man, the big stage, at least even if it's Kadas month next year.
Yes, we really, that's my desire as well, at least, because when we did good milestone, we didn't have the opportunity, we really didn't get to come.
So Portsmouth never really, you know, saw the milestones.
Back home. No.
Well, we have to fix that up, man. While we are alive, we have to fix that up, man. We have to fix that up. Make sure that the Posse Massive come down and see the milestones. The Soufriere Scott said Massive. Come and see Pato in full effect. But we'll talk to you again, Marshall. Royston Ellis. Okay, in a while, Marshall, Royston Ellis took over. Yes, and he knew the business, brought you guys to Barbados.
Yeah, he brought us to Barbados to pick up equipment and come back. The whole nine. Lights, you know,
the whole works.
Uniform. Yeah, oh my God, the whole works. Strobe lights, you know, we were the first band who introduced the strobe light in Dominica. You know, we would put that in the jam, and then people would go like crazy. People would just go wild, and you know, a lot of stuff, you know.
But you would play all around Dominica. I mean,
oh,
that
yes,
time.
I don't think there's one village in Dominica we didn't play. We play. As a matter of fact, we used to get booked a year before. Wow. Yeah, we were so, you know, we were so demanding. Like, you know, once we went some village, and the priest was like, you know, I'm booking you guys for next year.
Next year feast. Yeah.
Wow.
What was the repertoire like when you go down?
Our repertoire was mostly Kadas.
But you play the music of the other bands.
I'll play music of the other bands, mostly Midnight Groovers. Yeah, you couldn't tell the difference. Wow. Whenever we played Midnight Groovers song, it was like.
You would play the guitar then?
Well, yeah, I used to play guitar, and my main thing was vocals. You know, because
who would give that core groove in the band? Who would?
Well, it's me.
It's you, all right? Okay.
Yeah, I'm a vocalist before a guitarist. Okay, I everything vocals. You know, but when we started playing, right away, our repertoire was consistent of more like kind of slip, so you know, little reggae here and there, but it was really kind of, because that was the music of the day. You know, if there was a band that couldn't play Canas, forget it. At that time, you know, forget it. He wasn't, you know, considered the band, you know, per se, you know. And yeah, so we started playing, and
were you better paid then under Royston?
Oh yes. No, the deal we had was we were actually paying for the equipment. He wasn't really making no profit. You know, we were paying back and getting back a receipt, you know, saying we pay for that. And at the end of whatever, you know, we would get, and as after the hurricane, Hurricane David,
Yeah.
yes, we acquired the equipment because we had paid, we had paid.
Paid off.
Not really paid off, but, you
Paid
know,
reasonable amount.
reasonable amount, you know, and he came into our consideration and he said, you know what, I'll just let you guys have everything, all the equipment and everything, and we were on our own. And
He left Dominica then?
he left Dominica. Right now he's in Sri Lanka. He's still right time. He's in Sri Lanka. He's almost, I think, 80 now. He's
So you still
80 now.
correspond?
We still correspond on Facebook, yeah. And yeah, so we started from zero. In less than 3 to 6 months, I said, we actually dominated the whole band, the whole dance.
So you would come down to
business.
town and mash up swinging styles and,
Oh yes.
and make it fit?
Oh yes. Oh, yes.
Mash up no man later.
Oh well, you know, I'm not bloating. You know, I'm not bloating. But that was reality.
Reality.
Yeah, it was reality because you know that was the thing. Because the thing is, you know, we played, but we were not as good as you know people thought we were. You know, people didn't know that we couldn't play. You know, but he know the technique. You know, he really made people think that this band is the best band. This band is the best. thing
In
that
terms of
happened.
promotion.
You know, in 1 year, he spent like $12,000
On promotion.
on promotion alone. You know, sometimes we would have one gig, and then we have like 10 ads on the radio, 15 ads on the radio. We just
That's
like,
on DBS,
on
right?
DBS, you know, all day, all night, you know, and just one, and people think, oh, this band, you know, and it's like, and we had no choice. We had to put up or shut up because people, you know, the impression is like, oh, this band is sensational.
greatest
this is
band.
the greatest band. So we had no choice. We had to put up. We had to practice. We had to play. We had to perform. You know, and that was it. And then you know, like everything else, band Hurricane David really did us in. You know, after that we tried to hold down, but it wasn't working. It wasn't happening again. And because first of all we were on our own, and it wasn't happening. And then, you know, a couple of years gone by, and Chubby said, "Listen, Pato, we have a North American tour. We want you on the guitar." And in '87, I went to New York on tour with Groovers, and the rest is history.
You stayed.
Yeah.
Didn't come back.
The rest is history.
You stayed in New York.
Yes, I
but,
jumped
but,
ship.
But,
I
but,
jumped
but,
ship,
but,
yeah.
but Cameron, you would have gone to be one of the most prolific jazz player in the Western Hemisphere.
Without cutting you, when Cameron started to, getting interested in the guitar, I knew right there. I knew he was going to be good.
Really?
Yes. I never told you that.
No.
Yes.
Why?
Because,
Why?
I'll tell you something.
He had a
You
feeling the way he
yes,
played?
Yes, I knew it. I knew it when I hear it, and I heard it, and I'm like, wow.
He's going to get
He's
good.
gonna get good. And you know why? Because at that time, Mantra,
Julie
Julie
Mate.
Mate had some riffs, some jazz riffs on some, and I heard Cameron play that.
Playing
I'm like,
that.
oh boy.
So Cameron was better than you then.
No.
No, it's not a matter of better. No, we
Is
just
the experimenting
Yes, we
at
both
the
was
time?
experimenting, yeah.
But
And I heard him play, and I'm like, I heard him play that guitar solo, that jazz guitar solo, and I'm like, okay, he got it, yeah.
But
And,
you know, Kent told me a similar thing. You know.
Yes, I told
Ken
him.
told
So
me
you were
Yes.
you were natural, Cameron.
Yes.
I don't know if I was natural. I think, my dad had, my dad lived in Marigot, and I spent a lot. I used to split my time between Soufrière and Marigot. And my dad had a record collection that went from a jazz record collection that went from this side of the room to the next, and only listened to was Ella Fitzgerald and Joe Pass. I mean, Nat King Cole, and all his jazz records had guitars on there. So me not realizing
you
it,
internalized it.
absolutely, yes. So it was almost like I was gonna go there, but I didn't know.
Yeah, but yeah, I really knew, I knew it was gonna be
Yeah, but just for time, tell us how far you reached in the jazz world, Cameron.
I mean, I don't know about far because I'm not yet finished. I'm still
Yeah,
going.
but then so
you
far,
know.
so
I mean,
far.
I've recorded albums.
How many albums?
I've done 6 albums under my own name, and I've played on quite a few, and I've been fortunate to. I mean, I've done gigs.
With some of the greatest.
Well, I don't like to say some of the greatest.
No,
but
I mean,
I've done
that is-
I've done- I mean, I worked with. Okay, in the UK, I did work with some of the biggest jazz musicians they have there. You know.
Some of the names are.
I mean, I worked with Courtney Pine. I worked with I worked with a band called Jazz Jamaica, a huge band. I worked with Mario Canage, the French piano
Yes,
player.
yes, yes. Lovely.
Genius. I mean, virtuoso.
Flo, yes.
Yeah. Plus, I did a lot of. The other thing, I started off as a reggae musician. You know, when I went to England, the first 2-3 years, all I did was just reggae music. If loads of Jamaicans, so mad guys, crazy guys, and that was my thing. You know, but gradually, I shifted. Yeah,
Because the amount of jazz you heard in your head, you needed to explore.
Well, no, what happened for me, what happened, I was doing the reggae thing for a long time, and then I got into a situation where I didn't want to do it anymore. But what happened was Courtney Pine, who I worked with, we were doing a lot of reggae together, and he had left the scene. And he got a huge contract. He signed a deal with Island Records, and he had a huge tour. And he just phoned me, and he said, yo, I got 5 gigs. You want to come? I'm like, yeah, okay. And when I actually went to the rehearsal, well, he doesn't like to rehearse. He just send you the charts, and he send you a tape, and you're on your own. Wow. And I mean, when I did the first gig, man, I was out of my depth. I mean, the musicians that in the band were just so far advanced.
Superior.
I mean, it was unbelievable. So I
Had to
just
catch up.
I don't think I ever did catch up, but yeah, it was a rude awakening. You know, so I just thought to myself, okay, this is where I start. But in hindsight, it was I really do believe if you want to improve as a musician, you should surround yourself with people who are superior to you. Yeah. In that way, you must improve.
And your biggest influences in the jazz business?
As a guitarist, I'd say Wes Montgomery really is my man. But
Benson?
Yeah, of course. Well, when Benson came from Wes, so I'm not going to Benson, I'm going to Wes. That sort of thing. But I listen to I listen to everything. Everything.
How you feel with the Cadas Foundation that you had then? You felt it inspired you later in life?
What the Cadas thing did for me here, well, you see here, when we were growing up as kids, none of us had record players at home. I didn't have a record player. And if we wanted to learn, like, for example, Leo Sayer, When I Need Love, because back in those days, we were top 40 bands. That's what we played. We played top 40 music. And what the Cadas did for me, or that period when I started learning to play an instrument, was it developed my hearing a lot, because I didn't have a radio. Pato didn't have a radio. But everyone played their music loud in the village. So if DBS played, Eagles on the radio,
you pass on your hearing.
Exactly, because tonight we're gonna rehearse, we're gonna practice tonight. Because I know Pato is listening to the song, I'm listening to it, Howard listening to it, Hugh listening to it.
So you listen to
everywhere, all parts of the
right? They listen to the radio. All of them coming together and play.
Tonight, that's why we go to the rehearsal
This
room
is amazing.
and we practice. So your ears got developed in a way that you could never. No music school could do that to you.
Yes.
And so when I went to England, I mean, I'll give you a story, right? I did an album with Courtney Pine called Europa, which was a music. It was a jazz album, but heavily classically influenced and Celtic and Argentinian, North American, And it's one of those albums. When you do the gig, you needed the music chart on stage. I mean, you couldn't do without it. And so that gig we had cello, 2 viola players, a violin, double bass, and it was a massive band. But the music was tough, and I knew I was gonna have a hard time. So I decided, what? I mean, I'm blessed with really good ears. In England, we call it big ears. We refer to musicians as having big ears, meaning, And I sat down one day at home and I said, you know what? I'm gonna learn that whole score by ear. And I just spent like a whole week, And when we went to the gig, when the album launch came out, 500 people soloed. And I got to the stage and I had the chart And I'm like, boy, if I bring this chart on stage, I'm going to be relying on this chart. And I will make mistakes. I took the chart down and I put it on the floor. And then the violinist, we played the first tune and Omar pointed.
You started
This
getting
Cuban
feeling,
guy,
the feeling hit you.
he looks at me, he say, Cameron, where's your chart? Where's your charts? I'm like, it's on the floor. He say, you don't want it? You don't? I'm like, I say, Omar, just leave me alone tonight. But because you see that training I had, you know, you don't think of it then, but it has served me well because I've
Good
done
foundation.
gigs with guys. Guys will say to me, "Hey, where's your chart, man?" I'm like, it's in my head. I learned
the
it.
sound, the air.
You know, so the ear training that we got as kids, learning to play.
Exactly. That's
Was
exactly
a
what happened.
major foundation.
Exactly what
Absolutely.
exactly what happened to me. You know, I never played the guitar. I never played the guitar before. I never, you know, went to school to play guitar. It's all like I'm hearing it, and I try to transpose it to the guitar.
Actually, let me stop you there, Pato. I need to ask you a question. Where you learn to play octaves
Octaves?
on the guitar? You see, there's a technique called octave on the guitar, right?
Yeah,
That's
it's-
very difficult. And Pato was playing it, although he wasn't playing the conventional way. He was playing it like this, and I mean, it's only much later when I started listening to Wes Montgomery. He was playing that. I'm like, shit, whoops.
And Pato
That's
played
what
that-
Pato was playing.
Yes.
Them
Yes.
octave thing.
As a
Maybe
matter
not
of
as
fact-
advanced,
As a
but
matter of fact, there were some octaves on that Listen Home album.
I know.
I did. I did.
I know.
And the thing
I
is,
know.
the octave part of I'll tell you, I'll tell you. The octave part of me playing is when I get lost.
Wow.
You know, I used to, you know, I remember this guy Jamala.
Yeah, man.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Grand
Plantain,
from
yeah,
Black
yeah,
Machine.
yeah,
Black
good
Machine,
record.
Yeah, he used to come at me, tell me, man,
So,
yo, man, you play that guitar, you know, I'm listening to you, and you go notes, and you don't stop, and you don't. I'm like, I said, I don't know what I'm doing. I really don't know what I'm doing.
You don't know what you're doing.
No, but the air.
This is gifted, this is gifted.
As Cameron said, the air.
Yes,
you know.
yes, yes,
So
yes.
on that album, when I started soloing on a Lise Wamla track, I get stuck, and then I remember the octaves.
well, you see,
Why? I remember the octaves while recording.
You see,
Yes.
listen, you're not alone, man. The great, I remember reading an interview with George Benson, and he says he plays octaves when he runs out of ideas and
Yes.
he don't know what else to play.
Yes, and I did that. I did that out of my, you know, I get stuck playing the guitar, and I had no choice because I had a few more bars to go.
Yeah.
And I decided, you know, I just finished the few more bars in octaves, and it just worked out just fine. I'm like, oh,
When you listen to the
I'm
recording.
like, yes.
Okay, guys, when we come back, we'll round up because of time. Another program is scheduled for 2 o'clock. You just want to remind you that Caras by the Pool tomorrow from midday until 6 o'clock. You could just come, relax, chill out, bring the family, slip into something real comfortable and relax, and listen to some good Kadas golden classics. Kadas Lipson music tomorrow. That's how we were going to be spending it at the Atlantic View Hotel in Anzime. But Masho, final words from you in St. Martin. I really want to thank you for the work that you have done for Dominica, you and your brothers, and milestones. And we're looking forward to something huge from Masho sometime in the very near future. We are looking forward to possibly bringing most of the legends together, at least for next year's Kadas Lipson month. So we really want to congratulate you, my brother. Final words to the fans and friends?
Well, yeah, and thank you for the invitation today and to be part of this. The consulate too have really done a lot, and there's much more coming through it. And of course, there are a number of songs to come yet. So just want to say thank you also, and thanks for for Kyrie FM. Thanks for DBS as well, who played most of the songs all the time, and any other station who continue to play our music. And thanks for everyone supporting us in the background. Though now that we have got together, but we have the bass man in Dominica now, and the keyboard player as the head tour is in the States, and just three, the basic out of the six of us. So there's an area, I must say, there's some emotions for the other three brothers who passed on.
Okay.
And so on.
Deepest sympathies to the families. But my brother, I want to thank Milestones, the music you've left for us. Tremendous music, and let's hope we can somewhere very soon bring back those nostalgic moments to the fans and friends. So God bless you, Marshall. We'll talk right after the program.
And first, thank you to as well. Wadix, thank you very much. And of course, we can't forget Brother Henderson. We always thank him.
Maximum respect.
Brother Tanner.
Okay,
Thank you.
that's Gordon Anderson. So once again, guys, I mean, boy, we continue. We could go on and on. I'm fascinated by those, but it's going to continue because we really want to document everything that has taken place in those times. And what we're trying to do at Creole Heartbeat is to elevate our musicians, our music, and try to inspire the younger ones to emulate the work that you guys have done. I'm hearing that flair. I always said you had a lot of fire on the guitar, but I'm hearing for the first time. Very first time. I heard this brother, Roy, used to, do a lot. And it's only now that Cameron can explain everything for me. But guys, I really want to thank you for coming. I will give you the opportunity to big up your fans and friends. And Soufriere Scott said you in Marigot,
like
in Maho.
Send a
in
shout out to my friends, my fans in Soufriere and all over the island that really knows about Black Roots, about Pato. And you, Wadix, you're doing a wonderful job.
Thank you very much.
You keeping that vibes alive.
Thank you very much.
You're keeping the vibes alive. Trust me. I remember the last time when you tried to have
at the World Creole
Festival.
Yeah.
And
I think you broke your leg or had some.
No, I didn't.
Or you ducked me or which one?
No.
What happened?
No, what happened is I did not get to perform. I performed. What I performed at to an empty crowd.
Yes, because you performed too early. Yes,
not that too. You remember there was a storm pending.
Yes, oh man, I remember. Yes.
I was supposed to perform on a Saturday.
And then because we put everything to the Sunday and a band had to start very early. That is when we started at 4.
Exactly.
And then the All-Star band.
I remember some of my fans like, but Pato, we just come in.
Yes.
And you finished already, yo.
Yes, because we started. That's the first year we started at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
I remember performing to an empty.
Yes. We'll fix that up for Cara Slip some months next year, if God willing. Final words are yours, Cameron.
Oh no, thanks for inviting me, man. I mean, it's that conversation could go on forever.
Yes. Oh yes, it can.
I mean, there's so many stories.
So many stories about.
And I mean, I missed the second half of the Black Root story, Pato and so on. Yes. But the first half was, it was unbelievable for me. I mean, it's brought a lot of goodness, really. Without Black Roots, I wouldn't have done what I've done so far, really, to be honest with you. And I want to thank you for inviting me and those Soufriere and Marigot and Maho, people who yeah, so Maho is a republic, It's a state within a state, man.
Okay, Ty, I really want to thank you guys, and I really want to wish you all the best. The platform is there whenever, because we're going to continue the movement. We have a month where we celebrate Kedas, but it's going to continue because we cannot just let it go. We're going to talk to the musicians, the younger ones here. We can collate. And we're looking forward to a major Kedas Slips a month next year. We want to thank Roy Michael Proctor. We want to thank Sharian Later, Crazy T, and the entire Kyrie family, the genuine sound of Dominica, until next week, Saturday. Prince Wadix, God bless you and God bless Dominica.
Yes, I. Sakai Malad. Prince Wadix. Prince Wadix. Prince Wadix. Prince Wadix. Pa pou an wete ba moun flen la yon manja kite la vi. Aprisye sa yo ka fe kon yo apami nou jodi. La se mouve va leve